Okay, so let's dive right into the core method you're going to use to unlock some really deep meaning in texts. It's called the genre-based approach, and think of it as your guide to reading not just the lines, but between them.
You know that feeling, right? You've read a whole page, you understand all the words, but there's this little voice in your head saying, I feel like I'm missing something. You know the real point, the actual argument is in there somewhere. But how do you grab it? How do you really learn to read between the lines? Well, it really all starts right here, with understanding this one crucial difference. On the one hand, you have the literal meaning. It's the simple fact. A text might say, AI can provide tailored feedback. Okay, simple enough. But our goal, where the magic happens, is the interpretive meaning. What does that fact imply? It suggests that this AI personalization could be a game changer for student motivation, maybe even lead to better grades. See? Uncovering that bigger idea, that's interpretive reading. To get you there, we're going to follow a really structured 4-phase journey. First, I'll introduce you to our guide, the GBA. Then, we'll walk through each phase, building up your skills, watching an expert break things down, working together to practice, and finally, becoming a full-fledged independent analyst.
All right, let's officially meet our guide for this trip, the genre-based approach, or GBA for short. Just think of this as your personal roadmap to becoming a much more powerful and critical reader. So what is it exactly? The GBA is a method that basically treats reading like a craft you can learn, like an apprenticeship. And the reason it's called the genre-based approach is that it gets that different kinds of texts have different rules, right? A science paper isn't built the same way an opinion column is. Once you master the rules of the genre, you've got the key to unlock its meaning. The whole thing works in a cycle, with each step building on the last. You start by building up your knowledge. Then you see how an expert does it. After that, you get to practice with your peers. And finally, you apply everything you've learned all on your own. It's a really smart progression. And it all kicks off with phase 1, building a really solid foundation. I like to think of this phase as gathering all the tools you're going to need for the job ahead. You wouldn't build a house without a hammer and saw, right? Same idea here. So this is where you get your hands dirty with the fundamentals. You'll really lock in the difference between what a text says and what it means. You'll pick up practical skills like skimming and scanning, but most importantly, you'll practice making inferences. That's the secret sauce, the skill that lets you find the meaning that's hidden just beneath the surface. Okay, now that you've got your toolbox, it's time to see how a mastercraft person puts them to work. Welcome to phase 2, which is all about modeling. This is where your instructor really takes the lead. Together, you'll deconstruct an article. You'll take it apart piece by piece, like a mechanic taking apart an engine to see how it works. You won't just say, oh, that's a good argument. No, you'll find out why it's good. You'll see the exact topic sentence, you'll count the pieces of evidence the author uses, and you'll see how it all connects back. You're learning the blueprint. And what's so great about this next phase is that you switch from just watching to actually doing. But you don't have to do it alone. This is where teamwork really shines. This is called joint construction. And it's super interactive. You get to team up with your classmates, put all your brain power together, and use those skills you've been learning to figure out some really complex texts as a group. This is a perfect example of what goes on here. In a group project, maybe you get 2 articles with totally opposite views. Your team's job isn't just to summarize them. Nope. You've got to dig in, figure out if an author is biased, judge how good their evidence is, and then, as a team, decide which argument is actually more convincing. It's awesome practice. So all of this, building your tools, seeing how they work, practicing with the team, it all leads up to this final phase. You're ready. You're ready to step into the role of an independent analyst. And here it is, the capstone, independent construction. This is where you fly solo. You take everything you've learned from all the previous phases and you apply it to a brand new text, creating your very own analysis. This is your moment to really show that you've mastered the craft of interpretive reading. So you see, the whole point of this entire process is to take you on a journey. It's a clear transformation, moving you from being a guided learner to becoming a confident, independent analyst who can tackle complex texts all on your own. The genre-based approach gives you the map and it gives you the compass. You've got the structure, you've got the skills. So the only real question left is, now that you have the tools, what amazing new meanings are you going to build?